I clearly said at my high school graduation party that I liked quiet and meticulous doctors. But I fell for a flamboyant and rebellious red-haired boy. 10 years later, we met again. And he had not only become the ideal doctor I described, but he even remembered the idol I had casually mentioned. Even the stray cat I fed in college was adopted by him. And all of this was because he had silently loved me for 10 whole years. At my high school graduation party, a friend asked me about my ideal type. I looked at the bright, flamboyant boy with red hair and deliberately described the opposite. I like quiet, meticulous types, with black, neatly combed hair and rimless glasses. If he's a doctor, even better. 10 years later, I was holding my best friend's medical records and bumped into a man in a white coat at the hospital. The man adjusted his glasses, quickly scanned my medical records, and his voice trembled slightly. "Are you pregnant?" "Huh?" I mumbled in response, hastily picking up the medical records from the floor. I just assumed he was a kind doctor passing by. The next second, the kind doctor helped me up. "Did no one come with you?" I couldn't help but look up at him. His face was covered by a mask, and his black, messy hair covered half of his eyes, making it impossible to see his expression. I could vaguely see a few remaining ear piercings. This doctor was quite fashionable. "Oh, my best friend is over there." I pointed behind him, then quickly walked past him. My best friend was already craning her neck, waiting. Her husband had died in a car accident a month ago, leaving behind only her and their unborn child, less than 3 months old. My best friend wanted to keep the baby, but her emotions had been unstable. The doctor recommended regular checkups at the hospital. "I got the report. Let's go find the doctor." I took her hand. My best friend, however, didn't move. A rare smile appeared on her face. "That doctor seems quite handsome." And he kept looking at you. Even at a time like this, she still had time for my gossip. I followed her gaze, and the doctor was still standing there. I looked up, and my eyes met his. The light from outside streamed in, casting a glow on his white coat. For some reason, I felt he looked somewhat familiar. After accompanying my best friend back from the doctor's office, the kind doctor was already gone. She noticed I was a bit distracted, and playfully asked if I wanted her to find someone to ask for his contact information. "Don't let my child be born before you've even had a relationship. Being single is fine, too." I buckled my seatbelt, ready to start the car. My best friend leaned back in her seat, her eyelids heavy with fatigue. "I always thought you and Jason would end up together. You said you liked good students, and in our senior year, I saw him stop hanging out with that group of shady friends. No more fights, just spending all his time in the teacher's office. You said you wanted to get into University A. When I collected the application forms, I saw Jason's target university was also University A. At the time, everyone thought he just filled it in randomly, and no one took it seriously. Do you remember our high school graduation party?" Of course, I remembered, but those faces had long blurred, while Jason's face became increasingly clear. "I remember. Didn't Jason dye his hair red back then? The really flashy kind, and he got new ear piercings, all filled up." I commented. "He looked pretty cool." My best friend was quiet for a moment, then said, "He was going to confess to you that day. This time, it was my turn to be surprised." The car slowly pulled over to the side of the road, and I turned to look at my best friend. "What did you say?" My best friend was asleep. These few short sentences made me incredibly antsy. What did "he was going to confess to me" mean? My best friend was finally getting some good sleep, and I didn't want to disturb her, so I dug out that long-forgotten account. The high school class group was still there, but no one had posted messages for many years. There were scammers, though, singing and echoing each other in the group chat, selling weight loss tea. I found my high school deskmate, and without much hope, sent her an emoji to say hello. To my surprise, she replied instantly. "Oh, you finally remembered your password." After a few casual chats, I hadn't even mentioned that name, but my deskmate asked first, "How are things between you and Jason?" "That guy is so stubborn. Every time I mention your name, he doesn't say a word." I hadn't heard that name in a long time, but I'd heard it several times in one day. "Why do you all think something would happen between me and Jason?" I chuckled, typing in the chat box. "I haven't seen him in 10 years either." Before I could send that message, my deskmate brought up the high school graduation party. At that time, Jason told everyone in our class. Even the homeroom teacher knew he was going to confess to you, and everyone was keeping it a secret for him. We were all so nervous. I even specifically asked you what your ideal type was. I remembered. That really did happen. When my desk mate asked me about my ideal type, all the students fell silent, and their gazes turned to us. This was a somewhat private question. My face started to feel a little warm. Actually, my ideal type, with a head of red hair, was standing not far away. In my youth, it was hard not to be attracted to a flamboyant and bright boy like Jason. But when I opened my mouth, I said something against my true feelings. I said, I just like black, neatly combed hair, wearing rimless glasses, the quiet and very meticulous type. And if he's a doctor, that would be even better. This was completely opposite to Jason, who wanted to be a race car driver. The whole class fell silent. My desk mate's messages continued. He didn't confess to you then, probably because he realized he was completely different from your ideal type. But he's Jason. I thought no matter how difficult it was, he wouldn't give up. I even thought you two had been together all these years. I stared blankly at that line of text. An indescribable emotion welled up in my heart. My best friend woke up not long after falling asleep. I took her upstairs, telling her to listen to the doctor and rest well. I would come to accompany her whenever I had time. Wait! She rummaged through her bag. I think I left something at the hospital. My best friend lost a lipstick. She sometimes takes it out to touch up her complexion, so her parents won't worry so much. I glanced at my phone. I had some time. I'll go get it for you. I thought it had only been half an hour, so the lipstick would still be there. I followed the route twice, but still couldn't find it, so I had to ask for help at the nurse's station. A lipstick? Yes. We didn't see it. I turned to leave, but another nurse called me back. Wait a moment. Dr. Jason just called and said he found a lipstick. Do you want to go check? Seeing that it was almost the hospital's lunch break, I asked for Dr. Jason's office number and hurried over. I knocked twice. Come in. Doctor. Jason was facing away from me, tidying his desk. His dark, choppy hair swayed slightly. His back was remarkably familiar. It was the same person I accidentally bumped into this morning. What a small world. I sighed inwardly. Then my sharp eyes spotted the lipstick my best friend had lost. Dr. Jason, thank you for keeping my lipstick safe, I greeted him. Doctor. Jason turned around. This time, he wasn't wearing a mask, and his rimless glasses rested on his high nose bridge, his eyes deep set. That striking face appeared before me. It felt like something had plucked at my heart. Jason. My gaze fell on his ID badge hanging on his chest. It really was him. The world truly is that small. The name I had heard repeatedly today, and in the blink of an eye, the person appeared before me. But he was very different from before. Back then, the dean of students was strict, and he would stand at the stairwell every night during self-study. He would catch female students whose skirts were above their knees, young couples secretly holding hands, and those with dyed hair, perfume, or makeup. So, as soon as the college entrance exam was over, the students, who had been suppressed for so long, changed dramatically. Jason dyed his hair a striking red. His newly pierced ears were adorned with metal accessories. For an ordinary person, it might have been a disaster. But on Jason, it somehow seemed to be overshadowed by his own presence. What I remember most vividly is Jason with his red hair. What a coincidence. This was definitely not a good start. The words were already out, and I racked my brain to add, do you still remember me? Isabel. We were in the same class in high school. Jason tilted his head slightly. I remember. In the past, meeting an old classmate, people might just say hello and move on. It wouldn't be so awkward. But today, I learned about something that happened 10 years ago. I couldn't help but feel a little uncomfortable. Just as I was about to find an excuse to leave, Jason looked down at his watch. It's lunchtime. Want to go eat together? I froze. To be honest, I was a little tempted, but the pregnant woman at home hadn't eaten yet. I said I'd pack my best friend, her favorite malatang from that one place when I went back. No, I'm about to head back, I quickly added. Do you remember Cindy? She used to be our class representative in high school. She's been wanting to find a good time for us all to get together. Sort of like a 10-year high school reunion. We can have dinner together then. The world is big, but my best friend is the most important. Jason came down with me. He followed me all the way to my car. I couldn't help but glance around. Is there anything good to eat nearby? Jason looked at the chain restaurant not far away. Their noodles are pretty good. I'd been to that chain restaurant too. The taste was just so-so, but it was healthy enough. Perhaps in a doctor's eyes, it was both nutritious and delicious. Okay, well, goodbye then. I buckled my seatbelt and started the car. Jason was still standing by the roadside, as if watching me leave. I rolled down the window and raised my voice to say it again. Goodbye, Dr. Jason. Jason didn't say goodbye. He asked me a strange question. Is he good to you? What? I suspected the engine noise was too loud, causing me to mishear. Nothing. Jason smiled at me. Drive safely. I might have been mesmerized by Jason's face. After buying the Malatang, I realized I'd forgotten my lipstick. The moment Jason turned around, the lipstick completely slipped my mind. All I could think about was how handsome Jason still was. While my best friend was eating Malatang, I confessed, it's okay. I'll just buy a new one later. And that Dr. Jason you just mentioned, is he the one you accidentally bumped into this morning? It was more than just that. I can't keep secrets, so I told my best friend the whole story. My best friend put down her chopsticks, understanding. I knew it. You didn't even eat your favorite beef rolls when they were right in front of you. There was definitely something going on. Jason, why did he become a doctor? I remember he wanted to be a race car driver before, and he always used to get into fights with his buddies and people from outside school, getting all bruised up and getting caught by the dean several times. Jason in high school was practically the embodiment of rebellious. Few people dared to provoke him. After all, everyone knew that some people are tough only at home, and some are all talk and bluster. But Jason, he was truly willing to fight to the death. During the once-a-semester physical fitness test, I sat on the side with my knees hugged, watching everyone run the 800 meters. It was my turn next. Before I even started running, I felt a metallic taste of blood rising in my throat. Jason was late for that class, for some reason. He had a few more bruises on his face. He looked listless. Someone accidentally bumped into him, and Jason instinctively protected that hand. I sharply noticed blood sliding down his school uniform. As it slid over the back of his hand, he carelessly wiped it on his dark school uniform pants. I shot up from my seat. I practically rushed over to him. Are you hurt? Jason looked up at me blankly, a hint of lingering irritation in his eyes. As if burned by my urgent gaze, he finally spoke after a long moment. Just a small injury. I immediately raised my hand. Teacher, someone here is hurt. I'm taking him to the infirmary. I didn't care if he was Jason or anyone else. Anyone who helped me skip the 800-meter run today was a good classmate. Jason had a long cut on his elbow, although not deep. It looked shocking. I looked up at the clock in the infirmary. Doctor, please go slower. It looks so painful. Doctor, can you be a little gentler? Doctor, will this wound get infected? What should I pay attention to afterward? I finally breathed a sigh of relief when the bell for class dismissal rang. When I looked back, Jason was watching me. His gaze was direct, and he didn't flinch when our eyes met. I turned my head and looked out the window. When I looked back, he was still watching me. All right, I stood up. I have to go back to class. But in the end, I still couldn't escape the physical fitness test. The teacher gathered the students who hadn't taken the test and retested them. What are you thinking about? My best friend asked, resting her chin in her hand. You still haven't told me if you're going to Cindy's 10-year high school reunion. The class representative truly lived up to her title. Her efficiency was astonishing. In no time, the date and location were decided. She even managed to invite our old homeroom teacher. Classmates who planned to attend were filling out a form in the group chat. I felt it would be quite unethical to tell Jason earlier that day that I'd see him at the reunion, only to not show up myself. But I also couldn't leave my best friend. Her situation wasn't very stable lately, and her husband was from our high school. Attending the reunion would inevitably mean seeing old classmates and bringing up old memories. My best friend wouldn't be going. Why are you looking at me? She chuckled. If you want to go, just go. Besides, my parents are here, and the kids' grandparents are too. I was worried before, thinking what would you do without me, you homebody. But now it's fine. Jason will be there too. I have a feeling Jason still has a thing for you. He must still like you. This time, it was my turn to laugh. It's been 10 years. 10 years. And so many people and things have changed. The reunion was set for next weekend. I figured I might have a few drinks, so I decided not to drive my own car and took a taxi to the hotel instead. Many old classmates traveled from other provinces. and some who were abroad couldn't make it back, so they simply recorded videos. Over the years, I gradually lost touch with my high school classmates. Even my best friend didn't come. I sat on the edge, feeling a bit socially anxious. Cindy pulled me right out and made me sit next to her. So pretty. "How are you still single?" she whispered in my ear. "Look at that table across from us, the one in the black jacket. That's Carlos, can you believe it?" In high school, the Lost Tomb was popular throughout the school. There was a chubby male classmate in our class who happened to be named Carlos. He claimed the nickname Fat Master himself, saying we should call him Carlos from then on. So many years passed, I forgot his real name, only remembering this nickname. I widened my eyes, looking at the broad-shouldered, narrow-waisted man in front of me. He's Carlos? He really was a dark horse. He slimmed down and turned into a handsome guy. "Do you want me to grab him and have him say hello to you?" I shook my head repeatedly, rejecting Cindy's suggestion. Even after dinner, several seats remained empty. Someone had an urgent company matter. Someone's child suddenly had a fever and needed to go to the hospital. I scanned the room. Jason wasn't there. The hospital is so busy. It's normal for something urgent to come up. I still felt a bit disappointed. Indeed, not seeing him is the norm. Who has such great destiny to keep meeting each other? After dinner, everyone went singing together. I'm a bit tone-deaf and always sing off-key. But my best friend praises my voice, saying it's beautiful. I wonder if it's just a case of beauty being in the eye of the beholder. I kept refusing to sing, but eventually, I was caught. As the melody of the next song began, Cindy thrust the microphone into my hand. "Don't tell me you won't. I remember you used to sing." I had no choice but to stand up. It was a duet love song. I looked around, intending to sing both parts myself. On the other side, Carlos was also caught. A microphone was shoved into his hand. We exchanged a glance, both with a look of helplessness in our eyes. I had just finished the female vocal part. The door was suddenly pushed open. Jason walked in, as if stepping on that very note. His face was too striking, too dazzling. Even though he was wearing the most ordinary coat, it looked different on him. Cindy greeted him. "Wow, our Dr. Jason is finally here." Under the shifting lights, I couldn't clearly see his expression, but I always felt that Jason was smiling. He walked past me to Carlos's side and took the hot microphone from him. "Sorry, something came up. I'm late." Jason looked at the big screen. "I'll sing a song to apologize to everyone." This love song, in the end, actually landed on Jason and me. I knew Jason sang beautifully. At that time, there were too many people in the school, and the auditorium couldn't hold everyone. For a competition like the top 10 singers, each class only had a few tickets. That time, my best friend and I were lucky enough to get them. But as soon as it started, I wanted to leave. The sound must not have been adjusted properly. The school band was terribly noisy. It was like someone was constantly screaming in my ear. I was on pins and needles, but I didn't dare cover my ears. After enduring for a while with my best friend, I really couldn't take it anymore and wanted to leave early. The next song was Jason's. I didn't know he was also participating in this competition. After all, Jason didn't seem like the type of person who would sing. Moreover, he was singing a gentle narrative love song. I sat back down. My best friend kept pinching my arm. "Why does Jason keep looking over here at us? He's looking over again. He's looking over again. Did you see?" I didn't hear a single word. I just stared blankly at Jason on stage. The moment our eyes met, a very cliché phrase came to my mind. My heart skipped a beat. After the song finished, the audience was filled with applause. Cindy waved Jason over to sit. Jason naturally followed me, and then sat next to me. That was originally Cindy's seat. I tried to remind him. "This is, ahem." Cindy coughed loudly. She picked another empty seat and sat down, but her eyes kept looking our way. I knew she was just shipping a couple. The class committee members' greatest joy in their busy academic life was shipping the class's couples, and I didn't expect it to still be this way. I don't know if it was the alcohol getting to me, or if I hadn't disengaged from the emotion after that love song finished. I felt my heart pounding. It was about to leap out of my chest. The student sitting on the other side was talking about their child's kindergarten. I couldn't join that conversation, so I talked to Jason. But as soon as I turned my head, I could see Cindy looking at us intently. Should she rein in that gossipy heart of hers? We had just started talking about the hospital that day. "Oh, right." Jason pulled out the lipstick from his pocket. "Your lipstick. You left it behind last time." The student next to us immediately turned her head. Why is your lipstick with Jason? It's Julia's, I replied. She accidentally left it behind when we went to the hospital last time. Yeah, why didn't Julia come? I smiled. She's pregnant and resting at home. But after I said that, Jason's expression seemed to change. I don't know how to describe it. Maybe it was the changing lights in the KTV, and I saw it wrong. After the party, I found a crossroad to hail a taxi. Everyone had a bit to drink, so they either called a designated driver or had family pick them up. There were many people hailing taxis at night, and the app kept showing prompts to add money. Anyway, I wasn't in a hurry, so I just waited patiently. A car slowly pulled up in front of me. The window rolled down, revealing Jason's face. I'll take you home. Well then, I'd be honored. This was my first time sitting in the passenger seat of another man's car. After carefully fastening my seatbelt, I checked it again. Noticing my actions, Jason's lips curved into a smile, and he joked, "What, don't you trust me? That's because you used to race cars. If you drive too fast, I need to be securely seated." Actually, this wasn't my first time in Jason's car. The last time, I was on the back of his bicycle. I'd been a good girl for over 20 years, and my only act of rebellion was in high school. My idol, whom I'd admired for many years, was returning to hold a concert tour. After a long struggle, even resorting to scalpers, I finally managed to get one ticket. Originally, I was going to go. Coincidentally, the school scheduled a mock exam that day, along with an evening study session. My request for leave was rejected by the homeroom teacher, so I simply skipped the evening study session. If the homeroom teacher asked, my best friend would cover for me. As darkness fell, I walked along the school's streetlights to the wall. I hesitated, looking at the wall that was taller than me. But the concert was about to start. I don't know where I got the strength, but I climbed right over. Only 10 minutes left. The clumsy climb took too long, and the concert was at least 2 kilometers from school. I gritted my teeth, ready to risk running to see if I could make it. Isabel! I turned around. Under the street lamp, Jason was standing there. He never attended evening self-study. It would be a rare sight if he ever showed up in class. Caught by him, I felt a bit embarrassed and annoyed. Don't tell anyone. Not many people knew about this, and I had silenced them all, one by one. Jason was an unexpected variable. I can keep quiet, but you have to tell me. What are you skipping class for? Since I was caught, arguing was pointless, so I told him the truth. After listening, Jason nodded in agreement. He lifted his chin. This is my bike. You can borrow it. Don't miss the opening. He was a kind person, after all. I was in a dilemma, but I don't know how to ride. This answer made Jason fall silent. I didn't linger, quickly jogging along the road. Suddenly, I heard the ringing of a bicycle bell behind me. Jason braked and stopped beside me. He said concisely, "Get on." I actually regretted it a little, because Jason's speed was really too fast. I had never ridden on the back of someone else's bicycle, only seen it on TV. The male and female lead sweetly sat on the same bicycle, passing by ponds and weeping willows, full of youthful exuberance. Instead, I was gripping the seat for dear life, unconsciously leaning backward. Jason must have been racing too much. You can't ride a bicycle like this. Slow down. Slow down, I'm going to fall. Against the wind, I heard Jason say, "Aren't you going to be late? Hold on to me." I grabbed Jason's clothes with my backhand. Later, I realized clothes wouldn't do. The hem was pulled askew. Without hesitation, I hugged Jason's waist. Jason seemed to stiffen for a moment. "Don't worry. This is what I call a gentleman's hand. I won't take advantage of you." When the bicycle stopped at the venue, there was still 2 minutes until the show started. I jumped off Jason's bike, only feeling that the wind that day was a bit hot, burning my face red. "Thank you." I didn't dare to say another word, and quickly entered the venue. After the concert, I followed the crowd out, and immediately saw Jason by the flower bed. He was leaning against that bicycle, still there. "Why are you still here?" I ran over. At the same time, an inappropriate thought arose in my mind. I wondered, could Jason be waiting for me? "Since I'm already here," Jason lowered his eyes. "The sound system inside is pretty good. I could hear everything clearly from outside, so I guess I got to listen to a concert for free." He pointed at the small poster in my hand. "Is this your idol? The group I liked had hair dyed in various colors, and piercings like earrings and eyebrow rings, looking very cool." "Yeah. If you talk to me about my idols, I get really excited." On the way back, I kept talking about them. The bicycles were parked by the school wall. Go on, Jason said. The dorms are closing soon. I looked back at him every few steps. Jason was still standing under the street lamp, waving at me, as if urging me to hurry. 10 years later, Jason was different. He drove very steadily. It was a bit slow, as if to accommodate me. Are you still racing cars? Yeah. I go when I'm off, just to relax. As soon as I turned my head, I could see Jason's ear piercings. They say if you don't wear earrings for a long time, the holes slowly disappear. I remember you used to dye your hair red and had ear piercings. You looked really handsome. Don't you like dyeing your hair anymore? Jason nodded thoughtfully. You have to look reassuring to patients, right? I didn't think that my insincere words from 10 years ago would make Jason directly change his mind and become a doctor. In his senior year of high school, Jason came to study on his own at night. His foundation is okay, but it has been abandoned for 2 years, and it is difficult to pick it up again. Every time I talk to my girlfriend after class, I can see him immersed in studying. When he heard that he was filling in his ideal college, Jason directly filled in the A college on that application form. It's the same school as me. I was 3 points short of getting into University A, Jason said, adjusting his glasses. I ended up going to University B, but then later I got into University A for graduate school. There were a full 1,300 kilometers between University A and University B. I also wanted to go to grad school back then, but I didn't. Otherwise, maybe we would have met then. I briefly imagined meeting Jason on the campus of University A. What made you decide to study medicine? It's the decision I regret the least. The flickering light from outside the car window passed over Jason's face. In my sophomore year, something happened at home, and I took a year off to take care of my family. I'm very glad I had some knowledge then, enough to help them. During that time, I always felt like I couldn't hold on anymore. My mum was rarely lucid, but whenever she was, she would cry and beg me to pull out the oxygen tube. She felt she had become a burden to our family, a burden to me, even though I told her again and again, just hold on a little longer. I was lying to her. We had borrowed from every relative who could lend money. I stayed by her side during the day, hired a caregiver at night, and went to work myself to earn money. I worked non-stop for many days, and the moment I finally collapsed on the roadside, I wanted to give up. But when I open my eyes, I have to keep going. No matter what, I can't give up on my mum. Jason chuckled, as if mocking himself. I almost did something I shouldn't have. My heart skipped a beat. Even the hardest days, we've gotten through them, I said seriously. The car stopped downstairs from my home. I unbuckled my seatbelt, having already said goodbye. After a few steps, I went back. I tapped on the car window. Your aunt would be very happy to see you like this now. Jason looked into my eyes, which were swirling with emotions I couldn't understand. Yes, she's very happy. I left contentedly, but then I heard a voice from behind me. Back then, I looked for you. I didn't know about this. When Jason came to look for me, he didn't even say hello. A university campus is open for visits, but you have to book in advance, or you can find a student from the school to take you in. The campus is so big, it's hard to meet. When I arrived, class had just ended. You were holding the books from the previous class and petting a kitten by the roadside. There were so many kittens in the school. My favorite was the little orange and white one named Juicy, who was the most affectionate. If you gave her a little food, she'd let you pet and hold her. That might have been just an ordinary day in my college life. I wouldn't even have remembered it. But for Jason, it was an extraordinary day. The campus was so big, and he was still lucky enough to see me. Even though I didn't turn around. Even though we didn't exchange a single word. You're living life so earnestly, it makes me feel like I can keep going a little longer too. The warmth in Jason's eyes touched me. In that moment, I understood something, and then I started to panic. I quickly said goodbye again and hurried into the stairwell. Jason likes me. Jason still likes me. After all these years, Jason still likes me. Without my knowledge, I had even become a source of motivation for someone else to live their life diligently. I splashed some water on my face to calm down. I remembered I hadn't replied to my best friend's message. She was curious if I had met Jason today, and what Jason and I had talked about. My heart was in a mess anyway, and I needed her advice. There were also 2 new messages on my phone. I tapped on them. They were from Jason. Since we were high school classmates, we had exchanged contact information. There were too many silent people on my list, and I had forgotten about it. Do you want to come see Little Orange? Jason. Image, that little orange cat. Jason actually adopted it. I calmed my somewhat erratic breathing. Yes, that's 10 years. 10 years! I paced back and forth in my best friend's living room. How many 10-year periods are there in a person's life? My best friend started counting on her fingers. 4 years of college, 3 years of graduate school, and she even took a year off in between to take care of her family. Studying medicine is so busy, and internships are probably exhausting. The doctor, Jason you see now, has come a long way to become who he is today. I propped myself up on the sofa with one hand, trapping my best friend. Why didn't you tell me before that at our high school reunion, Jason originally wanted to confess to me? You swore to me back then that you liked someone who definitely wasn't like Jason. You said it so convincingly. I didn't realize you were being insincere. Let's go. My best friend made a please gesture. It's not too late now. Isn't Dr. Jason taking you to see the kittens? Don't be late. Little Orange is a cat who has seen a lot. It's not afraid of all the students and teachers coming and going at school, and it's not scared now that it's been brought downstairs. It's just curiously sniffing around everywhere. Little Orange. I extended my hand, letting it sniff the back of my hand first. Jason has taken good care of it. It's visibly gained weight. It affectionately rubbed its head against my hand. I looked up in surprise. It actually still remembers me. Jason tilted his head slightly and smiled at me. When Jason isn't working. He dresses very casually. His shirt sleeves are rolled up, and there's a small mole on his left wrist. I held Little Orange and secretly looked up a few more times. The next second, a ticket appeared in front of me. Concert? After all these years. I still like the idol I liked back then. More and more people fell in love with them, leading to a tech war every time tickets went on sale. I missed out a few times, and just a few days ago, I was still cursing scalpers with my best friend. Jason's eyes held a smile as he asked, "Can I ask you to go with me?" Adults know what that means. It was an invitation akin to a date. Jason knew me too well. He knew that if I had refused him after he confessed his feelings that day, I wouldn't have come to see Xiaoju. But if I did come to see Xiaoju, he would find a way to get me to meet him a second time. Do you like their songs too? Or was it because he went with me 10 years ago that he remembered? I've been to every one of their tours these past few years. Jason said, I thought, among the millions of people going to the concert, you would be there too. The concert ticket was on my bedside table. As soon as I turned around, I could see it. And every time I saw it, I would smile. It was really affecting my sleep. Finally, I hid it in the drawer. Not long after I closed my eyes, my phone rang. This was the special ringtone I set for my best friend. After all, my aunt and uncle are getting old, and I'm afraid they'd worry. It's better if they call me when something's up. On the other end of the line, my best friend's voice was weak. She had fallen when she got up in the night and was bleeding a little. Hearing this, I shot up from the bed, not even bothering to change out of my pajamas, and rushed downstairs to hail a taxi. Don't rush. I was almost in tears, but my best friend on the other end of the phone was laughing. I've already called an ambulance, Belle. I'm just a little scared. Scared to be alone. When I arrived, the ambulance arrived at the same time. My best friend had already fainted. It wasn't just a little blood. There was clearly a pool of blood on the floor. My legs were trembling, and I don't know how I followed her to the hospital and sat outside the emergency room. My phone rang. Isabel, are you at the hospital? My colleague on night duty said he thought he saw you. My voice was shaking, and my words were broken. Don't panic. Jason's voice was calm. I'm coming over now. Jason arrived quickly. Your friend will be fine. Jason knelt in front of me, holding a small pack of wet wipes. Wipe yourself first. It was then that I realized how disheveled I was. My hair was a mess, and my face was covered in tear stains. Not only was I wearing pajamas, but I had also lost one of my slippers. I must have scraped my arm somewhere, leaving a long streak of blood. I clutched the pack of wet wipes tightly, as if I were grasping a lifeline. When Jason returned, he brought me a small blanket and a new pair of slippers. He handed me a bottle of warm milk and treated the wound on my hand. My nose stung, and ignoring the injury on my hand, I suddenly hugged him. Jason slowly hugged me back. She'll be fine. She'll be fine. Yes. Jason's embrace was warm, his voice strong. She'll be fine. Fortunately, it was a false alarm. Both my best friend and the baby were fine. They just needed to stay in the hospital for a period of observation. Her parents stayed at the hospital to look after her, and her in-laws also came daily to bring her food. Jason and I came to see her together. My best friend was in much better spirits. Her eyes darted around, looking like she had some mischievous ideas. She was preparing to interrogate Jason and warned me in advance not to be protective. Just then, I received a call from my mum. She said she had booked a restaurant and wanted me to have dinner with her. Dinner with me? Mum, when did you become so polite? On the other end of the phone, my mum was self-righteous and full of vigor. How many blind dates have I introduced you to? And you've rejected them all. This time, I've already made the arrangements. I'll send you the restaurant address. You have to go, whether you want to or not. The call was hung up. When I called back, no one answered. I sent her a message, and a red exclamation mark popped up, indicating it was rejected. Oh boy, I forgot to tell her about Jason and me. When I looked up, everyone's eyes were on me. My best friend almost dropped her apple. You're going on a blind date? My relationship with Jason. Now, it can be said that we like each other, but we haven't officially become a couple. Although, in my heart, I already consider Jason my boyfriend. Going on a blind date in front of him, and Jason even personally driving me there, it feels a bit unethical. I wanted to explain, but the atmosphere in the car was too strange, so I didn't say anything. This restaurant? The car stopped. Jason's voice showed no emotion. It was like the calm before a storm. I looked around. It should be. I unbuckled my seatbelt and got out of the car. Every movement was extremely slow, my heart in turmoil. Why hasn't he stopped me yet? Jason wouldn't really want me to go on a blind date, would he? I lifted my foot and took a few small steps forward. I really wanted to look back, but I held myself back. This coward. He secretly liked me for so many years. He doesn't even dare to appear in front of me. It's as if being in the same place as me and exchanging a few words is enough for him. Jason, can't you be a little more greedy? Just a little more. Just as I thought of this, urgent footsteps came from behind me. Before I could turn around, I was hugged tightly. I'm sorry. Jason held me very tightly. It was as if he wanted to meld me into his very being. Let me be selfish just this once. I can't send the person I like on a date. Jason held me for a very long time, until he heard me call his name. Jason. He slowly let go. I turned around. Say it again. What you just said. Say it again. Sending someone you like on a date. I can't do it. I cupped his face in my hands, looking into his eyes. Is this a confession? I've heard too many confessions. Downstairs at the dorm, on the sports field. Never before had I felt such a strong pull, making me eager to say yes to him. I like you. Jason looked into my eyes, which seemed to well up with a watery sheen. I like you too, I said, word for word. Then you are my boyfriend. My mum not only booked the restaurant, but she also bought movie tickets, determined to make sure my blind date and I had a pleasant day. I explained the situation to my blind date. As we walked out of the restaurant, I took Jason's hand. All right, boyfriend. We can't let my mum's movie tickets go to waste. Let's go. Let's go on a date. I had always hoped for someone who could understand my hints, grasp my unspoken intentions, and see through my contradictory words. Now, I've found him.